And welcome back to our Big Ten Network watch party. I'm Andy Katz. We're checking out the Michigan State-Purdue game, and pleased to be joined by Rapheal Davis, former Purdue Boilermaker. And Rapheal, I want to first ask you, playing for Matt Painter, it seems like every year we underappreciate a Matt Painter coach Purdue team. What's it like to play for him?
That's a joy. It's like going to the gym. You playing for a guy that's played before. You playing for a guy that has guys on the staff that he's known for a long time. He's honest. He's a player's coach. He allows you to shoot the ball when you're open as long as it's a good shot. As long as you're playing hard and playing defense, you would love to play for Paint.
You know, and he carries himself very even, but I think he's got a pretty good sense of humor, and he does a great job of little zingers. Not demeaning, but he knows the buttons to push. What's he like when we pull back the curtain?
No, he's super funny. He's very hilarious. I think a lot of people got to see that side of him on my podcast during our conversation. But he's a jokester. He likes to laugh. He likes to tell stories. Like you said, he got that slick humor that he can kind of get you off guard a little bit. But no, Paint's a real good guy, real funny dude in the locker room, a real good personality.
So, Rapheal, I did this thing recently where I had my top 5 Big Ten venues in normal times. And for me, it's Mackey Arena. I'm not saying this because I already put it out. I love the way the sound reverberates off that metal roof. Doesn't seem like there's a bad seat in the house. I mean, I'm usually fortunate I can sit down low. What was it like to play when that place was packed, was pretty much all the time, and deal with that noise level?
No, it was unbelievable to play in a game like tonight, playing against Michigan State at home. My senior year, that was a game that I'll never forget. The roof almost blew off a few times. 14,123 people in there screaming. The Paint crew filled with fans. I mean, when the Paint crew is going, it's like you got a 6-man out there. They're right on top of the opposing bench. I mean, like you said, I mean, I don't think it's close. I think it's definitely the loudest and the most rambunctious arena in the country.
So let's talk about that game. Well, it's one that you remember. That was in 2016, an overtime victory, if I'm not mistaken. What do you remember most about that game and the way you played?
I remember hitting my first shot. No, let me say, I remember warming up before the game, one of our managers, Cowan. Then I remember going out hitting our first shot. And I'm a guy that if I hit the first one, I can hit the second one. And then the next thing I remember, I shot a 3 in transition. And I don't think Paint wanted me to take that shot, but it went in, and that's when I knew I was feeling it. But I remember, we just play hard. That's a game that I wanted for my guys. That's a game I don't think I had ever beaten Michigan State up until that point. So I was real amped up going into that one. And the guys played hard. Biggie was committed to Michigan State before he chose Purdue. AJ had never beat Michigan State. It was just a game that we wanted, and I happened to make some shots and play some good defense.
Both these teams mirror each other in a lot of ways. I mean, when you think about the Big Ten, for decades it had this physical reputation, but a lot of that, I think, came from the years of Judd Heathcote and Gene Katie teams, and then obviously now Tom Izzo and Matt Painter. What is it about when these two teams meet that the games tend to be more physical? I
just think these are two, if I'm not mistaken, I think out of 14 teams, these are the 2 longest tenured coaches in the Big Ten. So I think they still, and Tom Izzo's been there longer, but Coach Paint played in the Big Ten in that physical era. Coach Brantley played in the Big Ten in that era. So they kind of still have that way about them. I mean, Purdue kind of transitioned from Coach Katie to Coach Painter, a guy that coached in the Big Ten to a guy that played in the Big Ten. They still have that Big Ten physicality about them, that blue-collar work ethic. I think Tom Izzo's the same way. I mean, there's 2 things you understand when you're playing against Michigan State. They're going to rebound, they're going to hit, and they're physical. And I think Purdue mirrors that in the same sense. I think Paint played against Michigan State. I mean, so he still has that fight with them. But I think it's just 2 hard-nosed coaches that like to go at it.
Yeah, there's no question that the symmetry is there in the coaching staffs. Izzo was an assistant to Heathcote, steps up. Painter, was that sort of coach in residence, came back after being a head coach, after playing there, and then succeeded Gene Katie. So a lot of symmetry in that regard. The other aspect, not just of this rivalry, but also of playing in the Big Ten, the depth I still think it was when you were playing, but it's never been better than it has been the last couple of years. And I'm just curious your thoughts on what you've seen from afar of the depth of this league.
I think top to bottom, it's turned into the best league in the country. I mean, you think about, I mean, there's no, when I was playing, you could look at the schedule, you could kind of circle some wins, kind of figure some out, but there's no way you can do that right now. Everybody top to bottom is playing hard. Everybody top to bottom can compete. And I think it speaks to the conference, because I don't think recruits are necessarily looking at schools as much as they are looking at conferences. You know what I mean? I think guys want to come into the Big Ten. They want to play on the Big Ten network. They want to play on ESPN. But then also they know every night they can go out and they can have a battle. I mean, from when I was playing, Rutgers has completely turned it around. So, I mean, it's a team that we go on to Rutgers, wouldn't be a lot of fans there at first, and now they're considered one of the best arenas in the conference. So, I mean, the
Hey,
league
one
is
quick thing
complete.
before we bring in another guest here. The comparisons between Biggie, Caleb Swanigan, who you played with, and now Travion Williams, what are they?
Biggie's probably just more of a junkyard dog, just more of an animal in a glass, just more of a fight you, just more of a just rough and tough and just play as hard as he can. And Travion, I think his skill set separates him from a lot of big men that's coming through Purdue. The fact that Paint allows guys to bounce pass it to him and allows Travion to pass the ball out of the post, it speaks to Travion's skill level. I think his skill level will be able to pass the ball and being able to want the double team and pass it out of it. That's a difference. But Biggie was just an animal, just to go out there and get it and just take it from you type of guy.